We took everything Kevin said with a grain of salt. At the very least, he was dumb enough to get hit by a car. Damn, dude.
You know the kind of guy who does nothing but bad things and then wonders why his life sucks? Well, that was me.
Hello, friends. Trace amounts of science. Promise swears he's just a fact. We're headed back at r/StoriesAboutKevin today with the saga of Boat Kevin. We did like 5 parts in the first video, and I'm sure that link is in the description. I'm pretty excited to get into it. Other people seem to have enjoyed it. Gubbins seemed to like it the first time around, but I don't know. He seems to be acting up recently. How do you feel about this one, Gubbins?
Host Gubbins rather dive headfirst into the septic sea and let lungs fill with filth than hear Soft Chief drone on about Boat Kevin one more time. We get it. Boat Kevin dumb as moldy bread. Why we gotta drown in verbal diarrhea to prove it?
Well, I guess you could leave for the episode if you really wanted.
Gubbins volunteer as sacrifice. Put me in the bilge, Captain. Better than this.
Okay, have it your way, son. Goodbye forever. Oh, we'll miss you. He's gone now. He's gone now. Till I bring him back. Thanks so much for being here. We'll go ahead and we'll get on into some Boat Kevin. The Saga of Boat Kevin Part 5, The Jacket. Part 4 was a pretty emotionally charged situation, so today's story is going to be something lighthearted and fun. Oh, I love fun.
F is for fire that burns down the whole town. Use for uranium. Bombs. N is for no survival.
All of us had matching uniforms printed with our company logo. I wrote my name inside my clothes with a Sharpie so they wouldn't get mixed up, and so did many other people. We had polos, a ball cap for sunny days, and a jacket for cooler weather. Kevin was a smaller guy, which meant that he was a bit less tolerant of the cold than the rest of us. As we started getting further into the fall season, mornings were fairly chilly, so some of us started wearing our jackets during parts of the day, and would stash them in the laundry room, which was for crew only and centrally located. Kevin was wearing his jacket indoors as he started his security rounds. He finished it in the pilot house, initialed it in the logbook, and took his 2-hour helm watch. Yeah, that's when we're most likely to die on this boat. Just brace for impact. The rest of us were working on some projects where we were moving around a lot, and it was starting to warm up, so I put my jacket in the laundry room on the back of a chair. When it was time for me to switch helm watches with Kevin, he left and forgot his jacket on the bench in the pilot house. I knew it was his for 2 reasons. 1, he was the only deckhand on the crew who wore a size small, and 2, it had his name written on the tag. Fast forward another 2 hours, and Kevin comes to switch out with me. As he rounds the stairs in front of the bridge, he's wearing a jacket, but it's not his. OP, Kevin, you left your jacket up there. Whose are you wearing? Kevin, no, I didn't. This one's mine. I showed him his name on the tag, and Kevin looked confused. He takes off the jacket he's wearing and looks for the tag in it. They were the kind with the wash instructions located on the flank, and he was having trouble finding it. When he did, lo and behold, it was not his. It was mine. He took it out of the laundry room because he thought he left his there and somehow didn't notice that it was too big on him. Oh, I must have gotten smaller.
That guy in a little coat.
What the fuck? I was thinking, okay, no big deal. People mix things up. It's just a uniform jacket. I went back downstairs and ran into Trevor, and here's where the story gets funny. Yeah, I'm waiting for that shit.
Give it to me! Give it to me! Just give it! Damn!
I tell Trevor what happened, and he immediately starts laughing. Trevor was there when the mix-up happened and saw what I didn't. Trevor, I was in the laundry room and Kevin walked in there, and he asked me to hand him his jacket, and I did, and he looked at the size and stared at it for a few seconds, confused, and then he just put it on and walked away. TLDR, Kevin loses his jacket, doesn't know what size he wears, accidentally steals mine, and doesn't believe me. Yeah, I could fit in a medium. Maybe my jacket was a medium. Sure, whatever. He's just one of those people that sort of goes through life without thinking about things too hard, and part of me admires that, but also, it's much harder on Kevin. I want better for you, Kevin. Please try to remember what size of clothing you wear, okay? Or at least where the tag label on the flank is so you can easily look and be like, oh, that's not my name. I'm pretty sure he knows how to write his name, right? I mean, there's no proof of that quite yet. We'll move into part number 6 and see what happens there. The Saga of BoatKevin, Part 6, Marines. Hey, you know what Marine stands for? My ass rides in Navy equipment.
Who the f*** said that? Who's the slimy little communist shit twinkle-toed sucker down here who just signed his own death warrant?
Today's segment contains a lot of hearsay and speculation, with the strong possibility of Kevin being a liar. Oh gosh, you don't say. Whatever the real truth is, something is fishy. Get it? Fishy! Because it's a boat! What a zinger, OP. Great job. One day, during lunch, Kevin walks into the dining room while off shift, so he was wearing personal clothes instead of his uniform. His t-shirt said Marines on it. Trevor was in the Army for 8 years doing something where he and his class were colorblind, maybe radio communications. That sounds about right. So he asked Kevin about the shirt. Kevin tells us that he joined the Marines and got a medical discharge in the last week of basic training. As the story goes, they were doing obstacles and got to the one that's a big wall. You get your ass up and over my obstacle, Private Pile!
If God wanted you up there, he would have miracled your ass up there by now, wouldn't he?
Your ass looks like about 50 pounds of chewed bubblegum, you know that? There were a few guys who were too short to get to the top by themselves, so 2 guys at the top were to pull them up. Kevin was the smallest one, so he went last. He jumped up, the guys caught him and started to pull, and then they dropped him. Kevin landed on his shoulder and broke it. After he healed, they wouldn't let him back because he failed a psychological exam, which he blamed on depression from his injury. Well, yeah, that does suck pretty hard, I gotta admit. This is the first reason that we were suspicious. Kevin had some scars along his hand, up his arm, to the shoulder, and one day he told me how he got them. When Kevin was 15, he'd been walking along the middle of a road in the dark and was hit by a car and dragged underneath the vehicle. In addition to the gnarly road rash resulting in the scars, he dislocated his elbow, shattered his other wrist, and was on crutches for a few weeks. He missed a bit of school because he had to get surgery to put screws into his wrist, and he complained even now that he still had problems with it. Kevin had some difficulty with writing and using silverware because he had somewhat decreased fine motor skills. Oh, why you gotta drop this on us in part 6, OP? Now I feel like an asshole for ripping on him. God damn it.
I want to apologize to all of you for what I did. It was very wrong and I am very sorry.
And this is not like the Kevin and the Big Rig saga, okay? Like, this Kevin is not really hateable aside from the fact that he has a really difficult time with life. Things that seem very basic to us are hard to him, and here's a good reason why. He was dragged under a fucking car. Maybe I'll offer him a bit more leeway. What an asshole, OP. Okay, whatever. I thank you for telling the story, but yeah, probably front load this information next time, if you could. To those who are unfamiliar with the process of joining the military in the US, there's an extremely thorough medical examination. That's right, they look in your butthole.
Reveal your rectum! Let us see that butthole!
I remember going through MEPS like it was yesterday. Everyone is required to meet strict regulations or provide evidence that the condition will have no negative effect on any part of the job and get a waiver. Screws or plates or any surgery to set a broken bone are usually automatic disqualifications. Also, he still had issues stemming from this injury, so Kevin would not have been able to pass the medical exam. I don't know, man. Depends when he enlisted, I guess. The military's hungry for people these days. They'll give you a waiver for anything. Like, sure, here's a gun. I sure hope you can pass basic, because we gotta get these numbers up. The second reason came from our extremely angry pastry chef. He'd been an Army Ranger and had the craziest stories, but he never brought up his past unless somebody else did. One day, he'd been reminiscing with Trevor and a Navy vet about his experiences, and Kevin kept asking questions that indicated he was entirely unfamiliar with the structure and practices of the military. I mean, he was only in basic, really. You did a thing 3 months ago, brain damage. I'd give him a pass, who cares? Maybe we could make it into a game. Maybe we could just, like, gas him up real good and be like, yeah, tell me more things. That's awesome. Opie says, I didn't exactly understand what they were talking about either, but according to 2 Army veterans and a Navy veteran, all of it should have been pretty common knowledge for anybody who made it past the first week of basic. To quote Chef, there's no fucking way that idiot was in the military. To know absolutely nothing, he'd have to be such a moron that he would have failed the ASVAB, which is the written test taken before joining, and yeah, not even let in the first place. After this, we took everything Kevin said with a grain of salt. At the very least, he was dumb enough to get hit by a car. Damn, dude.
You know the kind of guy who does nothing but bad things and then wonders why his life sucks? Well, that was me.
Fucking heartless. People get hit by a car all the time. It's not their fault. What? Jesus. But yeah, the stolen valor ain't a great look. I'll say that much. There is some shit that you just kind of know. This is a sergeant. That's a corporal. If you mix the two up, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. So yeah, maybe he didn't make it past the first week of basic. Probably you're right. They wouldn't have let him in. They'd have seen plates in his arm and be like, get the fuck out of here. I do wish Gubbins was here to offer some perspective and some levity. Dramatic pause. He's not showing up. What the fuck? What's up with that guy recently, you know? I'm not going to get into it here. So we'll move on to the next part. The Saga of ReddX, Part 7. The Flashlight and Chain. Oh, you got one of those, like, floaty keychains? Neat. To everybody who worked with Kevin, it was clear that he was really trying his best. Unfortunately, his best wasn't that great because he was not smart. Trevor and I nicknamed him 50 First Dates behind his back because every time Kevin did something, it was like he was just now doing it for the first time. One night was particularly bad. He shouldn't be on a boat, you know, working, putting other people's lives in danger, perhaps. We send Kevin to a home. I think Boat Kevin would do a lot better if he was permanent supervision Kevin, you know? In this story, Kevin and I were on the midnight shift together with the nav mate who needed the step stool to reach things. During the nighttime, it's very important to preserve your night vision as much as possible when in the pilot house. For those who are unfamiliar, red lights allow you to see in the dark without interfering with night vision. There was a small flashlight kept on the counter next to the rounds book, where we signed off our rounds every hour. It had 5 bright white LEDs and a red light with a lanyard on the end. Each color light was controlled by a different switch, and it was important to use only the red light, because the white light was bright enough to reflect off of nearby surfaces, especially the windows, and briefly blind the person driving. The white light switch had a piece of tape over it. Oh, I was like, that's an easy mistake to make. Wrong switch. I'd done that before. But he lifted up the tape to do this. In complete darkness, it was very easy to feel the difference between the button and the other 2 buttons to avoid blinding yourself. Well, I guess it wasn't so easy for Kevin. One night, Kevin managed to turn on the white light 3 times. The first time, he was so surprised by the brightness that he left it on for a few seconds before figuring it out. Great, now we're just sailing completely blind for a while. Oh, don't worry, my eyes will readjust. Just hope we don't die in the meantime. I reminded him to feel for the tape and use the other side. Within the next hour, he turned on the wrong light again. This time, while holding the flashlight upside down, pointed straight at his face. He freaked out, dropped the flashlight, scrambled to turn the correct light on, and the third time, I jokingly, not really, told him preemptively that it was the button without the tape on it. Kevin, no, I gotta figure it out. I just need to put it in my palm first, so the light is covered, and check what color it is. What Kevin was forgetting that even white light appears orangey red when you put your palm over it. He turned on the white light against his palm, saw that it appeared red, took his hand off, and blinded everyone in the pilot house for the 3rd time. he really is trying his best, isn't he? God damn it. Oh, Boat Kevin, you're a mess. That very same night, Kevin also 51st dates Ed another thing. There was an exterior staircase in front of the pilot house to the deck below. The bottom of the stairs had a chain that went across it with a crew-only sign. That night, after we left the chain disconnected so it wouldn't be tripped over in the dark or make noise that would wake up passengers in the room next to it, my first time up this staircase, I checked it, assuming that Kevin would have forgotten. He did so, and I reminded him. The next time he went up the stairs, he reconnected the chain. My next time up the stairs, I stupidly assumed that Kevin had a memory span longer than a goldfish and tried to walk up the stairs without checking. The chain caught me at the waist and I face-planted onto the steps. I told Kevin a bit more strongly that it was important to leave it open because I couldn't see in the dark, and I tripped over it. He actually did remember for the rest of the shift, and I was so proud. That next night, I fell over the chain again, though. Yeah, you just have to yell at him a lot. That's the only way he remembers things. Of course, maybe then he'll reach like some point of equilibrium and just be like, that's the guy that yells all the time, so I can ignore it safely. Then I guess you just become the guy that hits all the time. We can escalate this as much as you need to in order to help you remember. I'm trying to help you here, Kevin. I do have sympathy for the brain injury thing on some level, but yeah, once I trip over a chain in the middle of the night and faceplant on some stairs, I'll probably be singing a different tune, you know? I definitely do understand your frustration with him. Although, yeah, like I said, somebody needs to cut him loose. He should not be on a boat. We'll move on into part number 8 now. The Saga of Boat Kevin, part 8, Ironing. Yeah, it's a big part of ship life. You know, you gotta stay squared away there, sailor. Kevin's one redeemable quality was his ability to accept shitty tasks and do them with little to no complaining. See, he knows. It was truly remarkable because I don't think the rest of us ever managed that once. The only exception to this was doing laundry. Kevin hated that room more than anything else. He said he'd rather do anything else than laundry. He also could not figure out how to use the giant industrial iron called a mangle. Oh yeah. Definitely put the guy with brain damage in charge of the mangle. He's going to end up mangled. We were responsible for ironing the tablecloths used for dinner each night. I think the justification was that these were potentially dangerous machines, so the deckhands with other safety and mechanical training are best suited for it. Well, that, and we were the lowest paid, so cheaper labor. Yeah, just deckhand things, isn't it? To use the mangle, the tablecloths had to be folded in half and fed through evenly. Kevin struggled with each part of that task. The tablecloths had 9-foot diameters, so they were unwieldy to fold. Some people laid them flat on the table to make it easier, but most of us just looked for the existing creases and followed them. Kevin, despite having the shortest arm span of everybody, tried to fold them standing upright, and didn't always make it through to the center point. Not to brag, because, yeah, it's a pointless fucking thing to brag about, but I probably was the best at using this machine and could get all of them done in about an hour and 30. Kevin was assigned to this job and did so terribly that I didn't believe he actually ran the tablecloths through the mangle. It looked like he just folded them without it because they were so wrinkled. He then had to iron them by hand, which took an additional hour on top of the 2.5 hours it already took him to use the mangle. The next day, I offered to show Kevin how I did it and help him out, partially because I hate inefficiency and partially because this was one of the least labor-intensive tasks that we had to do all day, and I'm lazy. Work smarter, not harder. Am I right? Hey, fuck it up top right here, you know? I'm completely on board with all that stuff you said right now. I showed Kevin how it was important not just to follow the angle that the previous fold marks made, but also the direction, like folding a piece of paper. Yeah, 9-foot origami. Once it has a creased one direction, it's far easier to keep folding it the same way than to reverse it. Kevin had a serious case of learned helplessness and didn't put any effort into improving his tablecloth ironing abilities. If he was unwilling to learn and just wanted somebody to complain to, I decided it was worth more my time to work on deck cleaning projects. I tried to excuse myself when Kevin offered to trade jobs. He'd scrub the bow if I'd iron the rest of the tablecloths myself. Yeah, shit, yeah. My internal reaction was a mix between this and this, but I played it cool. For the rest of the week, we agreed that I would iron the tablecloths and Kevin would do whatever I was supposed to be doing. This worked out for a few days, but then something came up that I don't really remember. For whatever reason, Kevin had to do the tablecloths. He went to turn the machine on, and it wouldn't. Our engineer was busy with another task and just told him to try resetting the breaker and that he would be over there soon. Oh no.
Is not serious about his work because he's not mentally capable of being serious about work.
Not Kevin. Kevin needs supervision. This is what I said. He can't turn the breaker on by himself. Fatal mistake ensues. Kevin somehow managed to do all that without electrocuting himself.
You lucky bastard.
But it didn't help. He ended up having to iron everything by hand because he couldn't get the machine turned on. Damn, boy. Yeah, that's a rough day. But also, maybe not. Maybe switch with OP again. OP doesn't want to do it by hand. Anyway, our particular model has a big red emergency stop button that wasn't labeled, but it should be common sense. Kevin did not have any common sense. Once pressed in, it had to be twisted and pulled back out. Somehow Kevin had done this in the previous days, but forgot that he needed to. Classic 51st dates. When our engineer Danny walked in to fix the problem, I was there chilling, wasting time. He pulls the emergency stop out, and the machine turns on just fine. This is concerning to him because it's an intermittent problem, which is harder to diagnose. That's an engineer brain for you. But here, let me lend you Occam's razor. Danny says, "Do you know what's wrong with this?" OP says Kevin couldn't get it to turn on. Danny, "Have you ever had a problem with it?" OP, "No. I don't think anyone else has either. Just Kevin." Danny, "Must have been user error." And then he left. That's an engineer brain, alright. I like Danny, dude. He's my favorite character in this whole story. We've seen him twice. Nobody else ever had a problem with that machine as long as I worked there. TLDR, Kevin's bad at ironing, unwilling to learn, and then he forgets how to even turn the iron on. Yeah, and all the tablecloths look like shit because he had to do it by hand. I was hoping to go on a nice fancy cruise, and what do I get? Wrinkled tablecloths and Walmart caviar? Hey, you guys should leave a super chat so I can buy some Walmart caviar. I'll eat it on video. I will. You might also check us out on Spotify or iTunes if you're into like podcast stuff. You could watch ReddX at work. What a mind-blowing prospect. Anyway, we'll continue on and do another part, I do believe. Yeah, we got time for that. It's fine. The Saga of Boat Kevin, Part 9. Heave-ing lines. And heave is all capitalized. I don't know what that is. It's an acronym? I guess we'll find out. Characters. Out of nowhere, okay. Kevin, bad at stuff, deckhand. Jake, his first week, already better than Kevin. He was unfortunately roommates with Kevin. Boats 3, the immediate level above deckhands. Not the same boats as the one in parts 4 and 5. Mate C is our regular mate. Also not the same one as in parts 4 and 5. He retired 30 years in the Navy, Command Master Chief, 6'2", 300 pounds. Scared the shit out of me in my first few days. Bark is much worse than his bite. Serious and had extremely high expectations, but I thought he was fair and reasonable. Yeah, I remember my Command Master Chief being pretty fucking cool.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing at McDonald's?
One of the many jobs of deckhands is handing the lines during docking and undocking. Periodically, our noon meetings included refresher trainings on how we do certain things and why. They're useful because every mate and captain has a slightly different preference from the others. Our mate showed us the correct way to use a heaving line. A heaving line's a thin line with a weight on the end. You hold one end and throw the other to someone who's waiting on the shore. When the line connects the distance, a heavier weight line can be pulled across the water. Here's a good picture of what this looks like. Yeah, the yellow one. Look at that right there. And then you all get to say, heave ho! I mean, you don't have to, but I like to.
Heave ho for rock and stone. Bend your backs to take your gold.
It's extremely important that the line not be tangled so it can fully extend and make it to the shore instead of landing in the water. You can see the nice loops and how he's holding half of the line in each hand. Oh yeah, he's done this before. We practiced this on shore one day, knowing that we would need to do it for docking the next day. Somehow, Kevin got his line to go the furthest. Nice! I was jealous. No, not that. I was pleasantly surprised, because he was normally so bad at everything else. When it came time to dock the next day, we had our pre-docking meeting, and we went over the order in which the lines would go on and who was assigned to each one. Kevin was the one who got to throw the heaving line, which will be used for the last line on. Well, I know I've mentioned that his nickname is 50 First Dates. He forgot how to do it from the day before. Instead of tying the heavy line to the end and the heaving line where it belongs, he tied it right in the middle. We practice in wide open areas instead of the confined space between the railing and the bulkhead. That's what the walls are called on boats. Kevin winds up and smacks his hand into the bulkhead.
That's gotta hurt!
It drops half the line. He panics and picks it up and tries to throw it, but now it was tangled from being dropped, and by the time the first half was paid out, the heavy line in the middle immediately stopped its forward movement. It looked like a dog sprinting until it ran out of leash and got yanked backwards. The back half also went forward, but got stuck in the railing and made it about 3 feet into the water. Wonderful. Yesterday was your day. Today, not so much. Now, the line was in the water, and we did indeed have to start over, so Jake and I went over and fixed the lines, untangling it and tying it to the correct spot. Yeah, just baby Kevin some more. I saw you do it yesterday. You know how to do it. Now pull your shit together. Kevin threw the line a second time. This time, it at least made it to the shore, but his aim was terrible. It landed about 30 feet from where it should have and ended up getting tangled in a tree. Mate radioed me to go ashore. I had to run from midships to the shore to help out our bosun, or boatswain if you want to be technical about it. Cough, cough. Some user who I'm sure commented. Sorry. Something must have stuck in my throat combined with a strange finger seizure. Wow, you really let him live in your head, didn't you, OP? Next time something like this happens, let me tell you what to say. Fucking tomato, tomato. I don't care. What's a motto with you? We couldn't get the line untangled from the tree, so our mate told us to pull the line up over the rocks and then up a 5-foot bluff to get it secured. This should have been a relatively simple docking that turned into kind of a mess. Thanks, Kevin. At our noon meeting, Mate mentioned that things didn't go as smoothly as he had hoped. Kevin, incapable of realizing he had done anything wrong, immediately thought of ways to spread the blame onto other people. Kevin had decided that he and I were friends because we quote-unquote work so well together. Read, I was willing to show him how to do things for the 60th time without getting as pissy as other people. I did my student teaching in an inner-city 8th grade math classroom, so I'm used to people like him. Hey, yo, wait, what the fuck? People like him? So mate talked a bit more about plans for the day, and we broke to start working. Kevin, of course, volunteered to work with me, and we went about our task. Kevin, I can't believe Boats couldn't get that line on by himself. My face on the inside. What do you mean? Kevin, whoever's on shore team should be able to handle it. If you can't handle it, you shouldn't be on the shore. I mean, you're a regular deckhand and you had to go bail him out. Like, if mate wanted you on shore, then he should have told you before. The whole thing wasn't very well planned out. You understand why all that happened, Kevin? It's because of you.
It's like your brain doesn't work, you idiot.
Kevin's other nickname, courtesy of Danny, was DHB, which was short for Dead Horse Beater. Kevin liked to go on and on about something and say it the same way twice, and then a different way, and then the first way again. OP says boats was fine. Some dockings, you just need more than one person on shore. This place has really rocky terrain, so it was easier for us to go from different directions and have him hand the line up. Things change last minute, and you just need to learn to adapt. Kevin took it upon himself to volunteer for shore team every docking after this, which of course will lead to even more chaos. TLDR, Kevin, idiot savant something, forgets how to do it the next day and makes everyone else's life difficult. Naturally, he blames everyone else and decides that he is the only one able to solve the problem. I really don't understand. Like, okay, you saw him do it one day, but we know it's Kevin, so can he do it the next day? No, he can't, is the answer. An absolutely wild way to go through life, that's what I'll say. I don't know whether to pity Kevin or just, really, I think mostly it is pity. I don't hate him. He's really, really dumb, but he's trying his best, damn it, and I identify with that a lot, so... I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Sign up on Patreon, YouTube memberships if you want a fourth wall for the merch. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one, so until then... Bye-bye.